We're live from our studios here, number 35, John Hammer Street in Accra. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Noble Crosby, and the bulletin is also live on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Join us there, and we'll be glad to share your thoughts with the rest of the world. Coming up in the bulletin this afternoon, minority in Parliament rejects government's explanation of ongoing nationwide power cuts and are demanding a scheduled timetable. We'll bring you the details of the position of the minority shortly. Also, residents in part of Eastern Accra and Tema are grappling with water supply challenges due to unstable power supply in the Kpong Water Treatment Plant and its associated booster stations. Also, Ministry of Fisheries announces closed season for industrial and semi-industrial trawlers. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome to the program. Reminder that we're live also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Join us there and let's share your thoughts with the rest of the world. Let's start the bulletin from the perspective or from stories relating to utilities, starting with water. Then we'll talk about electricity, the position of the minority. But residents in part of Eastern Accra and Tema, they are grappling with water supply challenges as the Ghana Water Limited confirms disruptions in services across the affected areas. And the situation, according to the company, is impacting a wide stretch of communities that depend on consistent potable water delivery. The Ghana Water Limited has attributed the problem primarily to unstable power supply to the Kpong Water Treatment Plant and its associated booster stations, and the facility plays a critical role in supplying water to the Accra East and Tema regions, making it a key lifeline for thousands of households. The company explains that water production and distribution are heavily reliant on electricity, with treatment processes, pumping systems and transmission all requiring steady power to function effectively. As a result, any fluctuations or outages in electricity supply will directly reduce the volume of water that can be produced and distributed. Ghana Water Limited says its technical teams are working around the clock to clear the weeds and maintain operations, while also engaging key stakeholders in the power sector to stabilize electricity supply. And this is one of the impact of the current challenges with regards to electricity. In Accra, some traders at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle have indicated that the power outages is affecting their daily sales as they are forced to close their shops earlier than their usual schedules. And Christian Yale interacted with them a day after the energy minister assured the situation will soon be a thing of the past. And this is the report that he found.
Bustling and busy. This is the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. It is always busy, as it were, but here you have thousands of traders who are into different trading activities here, and for many the power outages have direct impacts on their operations. There are some who sell food, there are some who are phone repairers, there are some who have shops where they sell phone accessories and other items as such. And so we are here on a basic mission just to pick their thoughts and really get to understand how the recent power outages have been affecting their operation. So I have a gentleman here with me. What's your name? Your friend was saying?
Family Yausafo.
Yausafo?
Yes.
Pero do send ya you doom light or circle I say.
And I did call of and I pay 2 cry.
And I pay
a 2.
But you doom the sana ya a chance ya so back.
Oh, do about 30 minutes naba. About 30 minutes in Swa. More be a best 20 minutes ahead. Nasa Nasaba. You more about as I born in Naba. They no one face challenges were about pen for no more problem or no more solve any problem.
Yeah, was telling me that if there is a genuine problem, be it technical or any other problem of the sort, and it will take authorities to take power so that they are able to fix such problems. He is very okay with that.
It sounds like affect your business, no. It affect your business, no, because we are and run a John Mudimo, don't have a point 9. But because of light in the boss is 7 and I'm a point. Okaka says, "Oh, we so better check out. Say at least you get a backup like water plant and a generator. And I'm a water plant and generator. No, it's a kotoba. I'm a sort of fool and everything. A woman of the Demefa workers. And this is a son of Manoko.
Oh yes, can you do the high end power because as you can see, I'll buy there are fans on, but she hits. I wa say. Into omudum ne sana. Eya na hit no. Enya sem keto na afin so ye niema na ye ton. No see the kania. And a ton niema no. Enya me. You can say lights no say toswa and I attract customers and more ba ebeto on man and yes store won't say a container and I titimu container the heats fan boom buy fan fault again and a boha but she still
I'm sweating cry. Yeah, I'm sweating. It's not easy here. Yeah, it means that you end up closing earlier than you would ordinarily close.
Yes, yesterday for instance the lights went out and we had to close and go. Obia was like, oh, and yeah, and I because I had say, you know, Obi to meet now, man, 12 and I don't
12 a.m. midnight.
Yes, because once I say, na say, a be kono, ne be ba. I have no more na.
There's a moment 24 hours, no.
Yeah, they started that.
But anti Bebrena Cassa be a year and car a buying for the Rebecca say load shedding timetable. So that most circle from Bun say, Ochina. You be doing light for this period.
Okay, no be boy and pa because then you only say net dear make what's not or shimu.
And that was a report by my colleague Christian Iyali as he engaged with some traders at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle here in Accra. Let's go live to the Volta region where our man Faisal Abdul Idris reports that business owners say the intermittent power outages is cutting deep, affecting sales and then income because many small and medium-scale businesses are bearing the brunt of the erratic supply situation currently happening across the country. The situation has sparked complaints and frustrations from energy consumers, with some asking for a load schedule or a timetable to help with planning. The Energy Minister, John Abdullahi Jinapo, he has meanwhile assured Ghanaians of transparency and regular updates as the country continues to grapple with electricity supply challenges following the recent disruption at the Akosombo hydroelectric power station. Faisal Abdul Idrisu is joining us from the Volta region. Faisal, thank you for joining us. How is the situation in the Volta region like?
Well, I listened to reports from other regions, and I say that the situation in the Volta region is relatively better because from the start of the year, what had been the issue is the low voltage. Your light is on, the next minute it goes dim, your fan is on, the next minute it stops working and start all over again until somewhere last week when the outages actually started. Last week, the very day the incident happened at the Great Coast substation in Akosombo, the light had been off for close to 7 hours, started around 2 p.m. till somewhere around 9 p.m. That Wednesday. What we are seeing lately is the fact that, for instance, in Ho, the light goes off for a few minutes and comes back. Last night, between 7:13 to 7:30 p.m., the lights went off again and came. Today, as I speak to you, we have light throughout. However, yesterday, the ECG issued a statement saying that several parts of the Volta and OT regions were going to go off between 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. That ordeal, I understand those towns earmarked yesterday went through it. Today, at 6 p.m. to 12 a.m., several more towns and communities will be off. This morning, I was on the streets interacting with business owners, particularly those who operate saloons, metal fabrications like welders, those who use electricity largely to do their daily work. And they tell me that the situation is affecting their businesses greatly. Some come to work in the morning and there is no light, they have to go home and sleep. Sometimes clients are in their shops waiting for their turn, only for them to be told that the lights are off, they should go and come back. And so this is actually the situation across the region. We may have to take a listen to exactly the concerns the public is raising, particularly business owners. Crosby.
I'm fridge mechanic. We are working at CK Road. So this light out is affecting our motors. And so due to the low current, when you are charging fridge, the motor can just damage like that. And the air conditions too, they don't work. It is affecting our work. It is delaying our work too. We used to sell motor to fridge motors, air conditioning motors. We used to sell to our customers, but due to the low current, when they fix it, it damaged their distance. So we are no more selling it again. Because when it got damaged, they used to bring it back again.
With the low current, when it happens, the AC makes noise. And I think it's affecting the AC more because we've changed AC like 2 times already. So it's affecting the AC more, and it affects the lighting too at the shop. Sometimes the faces can just go off. Sometimes it goes off like for 4 hours, 3 hours. Sometimes so we close. The next day when we come, so there won't be lights. Sometimes we use gen, and most of the time so the gen is faulty, so we off it.
The voices of some traders and business owners in the Volta region. Then, Faisal, briefly before you take leave of us, I'm sure they are also asking for a schedule or a timetable.
Yes, they are asking, they want to have their day planned as against what the ECG has for them, so that they will not go to work and then there is no light, they have to return home. This morning, a gentleman was telling me that he drove all the way to Petro to go and work, only to get there and there was no light, so he has gone back to where he came from, and that's very inconvenient. It's not something they would want to deal with going forward.
Thank you, Faisal Abdul Idris, who's speaking to us from the Volta region there. Well, back here in Accra, the minority, they have attributed the recent power outages to what they describe as a neglect of the energy sector recovery program introduced by former President Kpong Adu to address financial and operational challenges in the sector. According to the minority, the erratic power supply predates the recent inferno at the Akosombo substation. Deputy Ranking Member on the Energy Committee, Collins Adamaku-Mensah, says the outages are the result of months of government incompetence.
Ghana's power crisis, the doom that millions of Ghanaians have been enduring since January 2025, was not caused by any accident at Akosombo. It was caused by this government. The event of 23rd April are the latest and most dramatic symptom of a power sector left to decay under the NDC's incompetent stewardship. The Mahama government must not be permitted to use this incident as a convenient alibi for a crisis that predates it by more than a year. And the MPP minority will not allow that cynical rewriting of history to pass unchallenged. Let us be unequivocal about the timeline. Long before the event of 23rd April 2026, Ghanaians across every region of this country had been enduring persistent, unannounced, and devastating power outages. ECG had been issuing relentless emergency and maintenance schedules throughout April 2026. The ECG Director General had already issued public apologies for chronic power fluctuations, causing damage to household equipment and crippling small businesses. Communities were living in darkness, not for hours, but for days. Industries were hemorrhaging losses. Cold stores were warming. Hospitals were straining on generators. That was the reality of Ghana's power sector before any incident at Akosombo. That is the crisis this government owns, fully, entirely, and without excuse. And the MPP minority will not allow this government to shelter its own incompetence behind the narrative of a single incident. We say to the president directly, the darkness Ghanaians are experiencing is not the product of 23rd April 2026. It is a product of 14 months of policy failure, institutional neglects, and the deliberate abandonment of the energy sector recovery framework that the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia administration put in place to prevent exactly this kind of collapse.
The voice of the deputy ranking member on the Energy Committee, my colleague Christian Yali, he covered the press. He's joining us more on the position of the minority. Chris, thank you. What else did the deputy ranking member say?
Crosby, what he has been saying also is that when you look at the situation that Ghana is faced with currently, it goes beyond technical thought to one that borders on finances, because as it stands, unlike what government said last year that it has paid all independent power producers, they know per their records that government owes independent producers some $500 million. As well, government, they say, owes suppliers of fuel some $200 million. So they want all of that addressed, and also government to provide some update on the Dumsor levy and what government has been able to, retrieve so far by way of revenue. We can listen to Collins Adumakumensah on the IPP's debt.
We also know that the problems of the sector is not only technical, it is financial. The Ministry of Finance announced last year that it had cleared all the debts to IPPs. The government also credited itself with financial improvement at ECG. However, the data available to us is that government owes IPPs over $500 million and over $200 million to companies that supplied fuel for power generation. We call on the government to come clear on the financial situation in the sector, particularly after the imposition of the Dumsor levy. We are calling on the Minister for Energy and the Minister for Finance to, within the shortest possible time, lay before Parliament upon resumption and publish for the consumption of all Ghanaians the full, detailed and independently verified report on the One Ghana Cedi Dumsor levy.
Christian Yali is still on the line with me. Christian, that is the deputy ranking member on the debt that he says government owes the independent power producers. They are making some demands. What are they?
They're saying that this is an issue that you cannot use semantics or English to explain every now and then. So government must cease using semantics to treat the power crisis across the country. Also, they want the minister to appear before the House when the House resumes from recess. We can listen to their demands now.
The government must immediately cease describing a nationwide power crisis as a planned maintenance program or a series of routine transformer upgrades. Ghanaians are not fooled. The lights are out because this government failed to implement the recovery plan it inherited, not because of engineering schedules. Implement the ESRP without further delay. The Minister for Energy must appear before the full House and brief members on the current state of Ghana's generation and transmission capacity, the financial obligations outstanding to IPPs, the status of the ESRP, and this government's credible, costed, and time-bound plan to end Dumsor. Clear outstanding IPP obligations immediately. Commission and publish a national infrastructure safety audit.
Deputy Ranking Member on the Energy Committee of Parliament, Collins Adumakumensah, speaking there. Meanwhile, addressing the press on Monday, April 27, the Minister for Energy indicated that government is committed and determined to solve the power challenges.
As Minister responsible for the energy sector, my foremost desire and objective is to ensure that every Ghanaian and every part of our country enjoys a stable, reliable, and uninterruptible power supply for economic activity and social activity. This has been the focus of our effort since assuming office, and we have not relented on that effort. This unfortunate and unprecedented disaster, which I have never witnessed, has resulted in the temporary curtailment of power from our largest generation source, the Akosombo Dam.
And that's the voice of the Energy Minister there. This is still the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Let's do some other stories this afternoon, taking you to the Ashanti region, because some NDC executives have allegedly attacked the Ejiso MCE over a warehouse purported to have been broken into by some of the executive members of the party. Reports suggest the MCE, Jerry Asante, had blocked these executives from accessing the warehouse. At the office of the MCE, it was invaded yesterday. An armed police officer present at the scene was overwhelmed. Let's take a listen to what happened before we touch base with William Evanzinkum, who has been following this particular story.
the original boss. It is our room. So, yeah, say, it should be about. It should be about. Let's say, Jerry, my country. So, why you want to say, we'll bet you phone?
Let's get to know where all of this is coming from. William Evanzinkum is joining us. Evans, thank you. Good afternoon to you. What are we listening to? We understand this had a cause and it is leading to some other concerns. What are they?
Well, so two lingering issues that have been fuel and tension between the MC and some executives of the party. In fact, it has even escalated to a member of the regional executive, and here specifically I'm talking about the regional women's organizer of the party, who also happens to be the regional coordinator of the school feeding program. Now, one issue has to do with a parcel of land, which report has revealed to us that a member of the executive or executive member of the NDC at the constituency level has begun developing on that particular parcel of land, which of course belongs to the state. And this particular issue has already been creating tension between the MC, because the MC has said that there was no recourse to his office before that particular move was initiated. Then what even escalated the whole issue has to do with what happened yesterday, when a warehouse, which of course belongs to the state, had also been taken over by the regional women's organizer. And we understand that she's turned or converted a particular warehouse into a private storage facility. So the MC and her officers went there, attempted to persuade her to evacuate her staff from the warehouse. But of course, it also turned into something else. Some barrage of insults from the video that we watched were held at the MC, escalating tension here and there. Around 4 p.m., we also had a report that her office was also invaded by some aggrieved executives or constituent executives of the party. And the move is, asking her to, leave office because they've, on a number of occasions, disagreed on a number of issues. So that is the tension that is boiling up as far as Ejoso municipality is concerned.
And has any arrest been made?
So far, no. We engaged the regional executive of the party. In fact, the chairman told us that they are meeting as a party to resolve the matter. When he was asked whether there's going to be any arrest effected, he was mute on that particular issue.
Evans, thank you. We trust that you keep an eye on this and bring us details in a subsequent bulletins. William Evanzinkum speaking to us on the happenings in the Ejoso municipality in the Ashanti region there. Now, marine artisanal canoe fishers have once again been exempted from the annual closed fishing season. The exemption, according to the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, is intended to protect livelihoods of artisanal fishing communities whose livelihoods depend solely on fishing and related activities, while ensuring an inclusive and balanced approach to fisheries management. However, industrial trawlers, semi-industrial vessels will observe a 2-month and 1-month closed season respectively. Let's take a listen to the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture.
Anu fishing vessels this year, 2026, will not observe a closed season. The ministry and partners will advance the Fishers Protection Package that we are currently working on that will cover vessel licensing, tracking, and communication systems, insurance for fishing assets, social security arrangements for fishers, access to fisheries subsidies, including premixed fuel, will be transparently linked to participation in this package. Stakeholder consultations will roll out as soon as possible.
Emilia Arthur is the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture. To roads now, because the Roads and Highways Minister is giving Big Adu Construction a 1-month ultimatum to make up for delays on the Enchi Kujo-Piki Road, a 30-kilometer to 62 kilometers under government's Big Push program. Now, during a site inspection, the minister noted that the contractor is currently at about 19% completion before the expected progress level. He attributed the delay to late mobilization, but observed that work has picked up in the recent weeks. The minister stressed that the government will not tolerate delays beyond contractual timelines, cautioning the contractor not to compromise on quality while trying to catch up. Now to some other stories before we go this afternoon. Concerns over jobs took center stage as supporters of the governing National Democratic Congress, they pressed for employment during a thank you tour of the Upper East region. Addressing the gathering, the party's national chairman, Johnson Asiodin Ketia, assured members that jobs and development would be delivered, urging patience and promising that their efforts would be rewarded in time. He also commended party supporters for their role in the last general election, saying that their hard work that helped secure victory and, in his words, saved Ghana from tyranny of the NPP will be rewarded. The remarks were made at the Talensi constituency, the first stop of his 2-day tour of the region. And that's how we wrap up on the midday news here on 3FM 92.7. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby, and business news is up next. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, consumers expect relief at the local pumps as fuel prices dip for May amid new price floors by National Petroleum Authority (NPA). Also ahead, Association of Ghana Industries (AGI) warns of crippling production costs amid power crisis and global conflict.
We are already dealing with the issue of the Iran war. Iran was a major challenge to power. So the least we want to expect is to see domestic challenge to power. And so power remains a critical component of all our industrial.
Plus, financial analyst Joe Jackson warns against tax cuts, threatening Ghana's recovery.
As soon as you say remove tax, you are just saying that the government's pot of money should be reduced. Now, does that mean that we are also prepared to accept the government spending less? If not, then we should be careful.
I am Bismarck Ausa. Will bring you details of our headlines and other stories shortly. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. In a significant turn for Ghanaian consumers, the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) has announced a reduction in fuel price floors effective May 1st, 2026. This latest adjustment, part of the authority's bi-monthly pricing review, signals as much needed easing of the financial pressure that has gripped the transport and manufacturing sectors over the past month. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
Petrol has been set at 13 cedis 25 pesos per litre, while diesel now stands at 14 cedis 30 pesos per litre. The most notable change comes in the cost of diesel, which is set to drop by 1 cedi and 80 pesos per litre, bringing the floor price down to 14 cedis and 30 pesos. Petrol will see a more marginal reduction of 2 pesos, settling at 13 cedis and 25 pesos per litre. The shift reflects a cooling in global crude prices and a stabilization of the cedi after a volatile period in the early April, when geopolitical tensions in the Middle East pushed Brent crude above the $100 mark. While these new rates represent a significant recovery from the April peak, where diesel hit 17 cedis and 10 pesos, prices still remain slightly above the levels recorded during the first quarter of the year. Government decision to intervene by removing selected margins from the price build-up has played a crucial role in this downward trend, though uncertainty remains regarding whether these subsidies will be maintained through the upcoming mid-year fiscal review. The National Petroleum Authority (NPA) has reminded all oil marketing companies (AMCs) that while these floors are mandatory, individual stations may add their own margins, leading to slight variations in actual pump prices across the country.
And that was a 3 Business News report on relief at the local pumps as fuel prices are set to dip from May 1 to May 15, 2026. Still on the power crisis, the Association of Ghana Industries has raised an urgent alarm over the deteriorating power situation in the country, warning that the combination of domestic doomsday and the escalating Iran-US war is threatening the survival of local manufacturing. Speaking on Business Focus, Chairman of the Greater Accra branch of AGI, Jonam Akpelu, noted power now accounts for approximately 30% of total industrial costs. The recent wave of unannounced outages has created a major headache for factory owners who are already grappling with a 40% surge in global oil prices and massive shipping surcharges.
For us in industry, every minute counts and every day counts, so that the more the program gets on, the more difficult it is for us to produce. And already, because of recent increase in some of the costs of utilities and so on, we are already witnessing an upward increase in overall costs. So that the issue of power coming to the fray is giving us more headache than before. We are already dealing with the issue of the Iran war that is posing a major challenge to power. So the least we want to expect is to see a domestic challenge to power. And so power remains a critical component of all our industrial activities. In fact, about 30% of the entire cost that we have in industry is actually assumed by power. And so any issue around power to industry, it's a major issue for us. It's very sensitive, and we're very concerned how it is resolved.
And that was chairman of the Greater Accra branch of AGI, Chonam Akpelu. In a related development, the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, CEMSI, is calling for an urgent and critical audit of Ghana's power grid to address the country's aging infrastructure. The advocacy group warns that much of the current equipment has reached the end of its lifespan, leading to frequent system failures and blown-up infrastructure across the nation. Let's listen to Executive Director of CEMSI, Benjamin Insia.
Blown up infrastructure across the country because of their age. We must also begin to critically audit the whole system to know which are likely going to be blown up in the next year or 2 years and make provisions for adequate capital to change these infrastructure. I'm glad that ECG for one has proposed in their multi-tariff year review order that they need about 4 billion Ghana cedis to improve on their capex or capital expenditure between 2026 and 2030. I think that if they are able to mobilize much revenue, they will be able to get the resources to upgrade. And beyond that too, we need to now manage between our supply and also demand. I think the country, because of political reasons, we are interested in increasing access to electricity without actually addressing the middle challenge of transmission and distribution, the infrastructure between. So politicians want to hear that, oh, we increase access 89%, we likely want to do 98 by 2030. But increasing access also means that we are increasing demand. Do we have the infrastructure to support the new demand that is coming through?
And that was Executive Director of CEMSI, Benjamin Insia. This is still Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also, before we go, Chartered Economist and Chief Executive of Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, has cautioned against growing calls for tax reductions, warning that such moves could jeopardize the fiscal discipline currently anchoring Ghana's economic recovery. Speaking at the University of Professional Studies Accra, UPSA Dean's Lecture Series, Jackson addressed the delicate balance between populist policy and economic stability. While acknowledging the public desire for tax relief, Joe Jackson argued that premature cuts could undermine the progress made in stabilizing the cedi and curbing inflation.
One of the reasons why the economy has improved and all the numbers have improved, the exchange rate has improved, the inflation has come down to single digits, the interest rates are down, all the numbers are trending in the right places, is because of discipline. Discipline that we don't borrow what we don't need. Discipline that we only spend what we have. That discipline is critical. That is what has delivered. Now, as soon as you say remove tax, you are just saying that the government's pot of money should be reduced. Now, does that mean that we are also prepared to accept the government spending less? If not, then we should be careful. Because you can't keep saying we need more roads, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need bigger salaries, we need research allowances, we need this, and yet at the same time say take off, take off, take off. Every time you take off something, it's that pot that belongs to the government purse that's being reduced.
You heard Chartered Economist and Chief Executive of Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, and that will be all for Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also, for more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Thanks for your company. Airband Blend is next with Black Rasta. Please stay.